not just the normal stock market, but also the cannabis stock market. All right, a lot of cannabis stocks have been doing very well over the past couple of days. This is a very good sign, right? This is exactly what we've been hoping for. Cannabis stocks are starting to get some of the attention. Sundial is one of those stocks. Tlry is another one of those stocks. But this is across the whole cannabis industry, right? Aurora Cannabis is also up. Canopy Growth, Hexo, Organigram, a ton of cannabis stocks are in the green today. We're looking at some really good stuff. So we are, of course, going to cover some of the normal stuff going on in the markets, but we're also going to cover a lot of the cannabis-related news that's been happening as of late and talk about some of the future catalysts that could get these stocks moving, specifically Sundial, right? We know there are a lot of Sundial catalysts going for us in the near future. So good morning, Francis Kitchener, Matt, Shotgun Cat, Quaid, Rocky Mountain Gobblers, Nataranjan, Rich M, and Pete. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got some exciting stuff today. So really cool stuff going on with Sundial. You can see over the past couple of days, Sundial's been doing incredibly well, specifically yesterday and the pre-market today. In fact, from the open of yesterday to now, we're up about 15% on Sundial. And on Tlry, if you look at the same time frame from the open of yesterday to today, we are also up close to 15%, 14.5% right there. So both of these stocks are doing incredibly well. These are both stocks that I'm in, both in the form of owning shares as well as trading options to some extent on both of them. Mostly selling puts on them, right? So this is obviously a good thing for a lot of people watching the channel, right? A lot of people have been in these cannabis stocks for a long time, and finally they're starting to get some love. Not just Sundial and Tlry, but Aurora, Organigram also, you can see they're up, not quite as much though. So we're going to pull up a couple of stories, just a couple of things that are going on in the world of cannabis, some things that might be helping move these stocks up, not just now, but also in the future. The first one being, let's pull this up right here. Rhode Island House panel discusses competing cannabis legalization proposals from lawmakers and the governor. So on Tuesday, a Rhode Island House committee discussed a bill to legalize cannabis in the state, as well as the governor's separate budget proposal that includes provisions to end cannabis criminalization and create a regulated market. Advocates who testified, now this is a somewhat less beneficial part to the bill, right? Advocates who testified continued to raise concerns about what they view as insufficient equity provisions included in the legalization, specifically taking issues with components requiring those with past cannabis convictions to proactively petition for relief, rather than the process being automated by the state. So, unfortunately, no bill is ever perfect, especially when the government's in charge of it. So we're looking at a situation where, something is getting done, right? They're talking about these bills. The governor has a budget proposal that includes provisions to regulate cannabis and decriminalize it. So that's good, but they're saying these bills aren't as good as they could be, right? They don't have provisions in them that are as beneficial for people with past cannabis convictions as they would like. And obviously, if you're legalizing a substance, then you probably shouldn't be persecuting or prosecuting people who have had past convictions for the substance too harshly, right? And who knows how difficult it would be to proactively petition for relief. But obviously, if you're in the system, it's going to be somewhat difficult. And ideally, it would just be the kind of thing that you could have automated by the state, right? Ideally, they would just be taking care of it for you. So we'll see what goes on with that bill. But we've also got news from Maryland. Maryland lawmakers approve millions in funding to implement cannabis legalization if reform is enacted. So Maryland is one of those states that has cannabis on the ballot for regular voters, right? Regular people are going to be able to vote on the ballot to either legalize cannabis or not in November. So a key Maryland House committee advanced a Senate-approved budget bill last week, adding new amendments that would allocate tens of millions of dollars in funding to implement cannabis legalization, with the expectation that the reform will ultimately be enacted this year. And it would provide about $52 million to support the implementation of cannabis legalization, facilitate expungements for prior cannabis convictions. Okay, that was something they were complaining about in the other bills that we were talking about in Rhode Island. They weren't facilitating expungements for prior convictions. That was something that people were taking issue with. This one in Maryland is, apparently. At least they have funds allocated to that. And this would also fund a disparity study to better understand the barriers to entering the cannabis market. So, the government's throwing some money around. All things considered, it looks somewhat decent for these cannabis stocks. And you can see these stocks are performing somewhat decently. We're up 6.21% since the close of yesterday on Sundial, it looks like right now we're seeing a little bit of selling pressure, right? Some people are looking like they want to take some profits. Let's see. We've got the 61-cent level real close, and hopefully that's something we'll be able to hold. If we pull out the chart right here, you can see 61 cents has held us in the past. When we broke down through it last time, we hit around 45 cents at the lows, bounced off of that just a couple of days ago, started moving up, and now we're back where we were a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see if we can hold that level. Hopefully we can. Hopefully it's a green day, and a very green day, right? Hopefully we get even greener on Sundial and Tlry. It looks like, we'll zoom in on the 1-minute chart on Tlry and see what we've got. So we are moving down a little bit on Tlry. Sundial's a little bit more bullish than Tlry is. But all in all, it looks like some people are deciding to take some profits on these cannabis stocks. Once again, if you look at, say, the 10-day chart on Sundial, if you were buying at the lows, and surely, if there's volume, some people were buying at the lows, and you were just holding until now, you're up 37% on it, just over a couple of days. So some people are likely going to want to take some profits, but I think that over the long term, you'd probably be better off collecting potentially far more profits in the future. We'll see, though, right? One thing that we've got going for us, and I know that we've covered this on the channel before, of course, we've covered this, but in April, Schumer is asking senators to help shape cannabis legalization bill that he is hoping to pass in April, or hoping to introduce in April, right? Here he actually says it, right? Schumer plans to file cannabis legalization bill in April. That's only 7 days away until we're in April, so at any point, starting in 7 days, we could see Schumer really enact that, and hopefully it'll be a well-received bill. Hopefully people will like it. We've also got, I don't actually have this pulled up, but on Twitter, for those of you who are maybe new to the channel, haven't been following us for the past couple of months, we'll pull up what Amazon has said. Amazon's public policy Twitter account. We'll pull this up. Let's see. Public policy. And we'll pull up their bill, or at least the bill that they are sponsoring. Apparently they tweet quite a bit. It looks like we are seeing some downwards pressure on Sundial. Now Tlry's the one moving up. Let's see if we can find. Here we go. So, Amazon's public policy account. We're pleased to endorse, we'll pull this up. We're pleased to endorse Representative Nancy Mace's States Reforms Act. Like so many in this country, we believe it's time to reform the nation's cannabis policy, and Amazon is committed to helping lead the effort. So Amazon is going to help lead the effort for cannabis legalization. So hopefully that's going to have some good impacts in the government, in the Senate and the House. And it looks like on Sundial we are hitting up the 61 cent, and we just moved right through it. Meanwhile, Tlry has actually seen some green. So we're seeing some selling on Sundial, buying on Tlry, buying on Organigram, and Aurora Cannabis. Sundial's the only one. Some people are selling it, it looks like. Unfortunately, I think we'll see good stuff for Sundial in the near future, especially considering the fact that we've got, before the end of the month, there are two big catalysts coming for Sundial. Before the end of the month, we've got the Alcanna acquisition going through. We just had really good numbers for Nova Cannabis. Nova Cannabis just had really good revenue and profit numbers. In fact, I can pull those up. For those of you who missed the Sundial video that we did yesterday, we've got Nova Cannabis, part of Alcanna, right? Alcanna owns a majority ownership interest in Nova Cannabis, and Alcanna is the Canadian liquor retailer that Sundial's about to acquire by the end of the month. So by March 30th, we're expecting Sundial to acquire Alcanna and thus acquire Nova Cannabis, which just released their quarter 4 revenues. I believe 2 days ago these came out. This came out late on Monday, and they improved them quite a bit. So fourth quarter sales growth, 176% year over year, 23% growth over the quarter. So good stuff there. Sales of $47.6 million and gross profits of $8.4 million. So we're looking at, that's just one company that Sundial is going to be acquiring later this month, and hopefully they'll be able to factor that into their earnings call. I'm not sure if that's something they'll be able to do. We'll see, because technically the day that they're supposed to be acquiring Alcanna and Nova Cannabis is maybe the day after their earnings call, right? That's when it might end up going through. Maybe it'll be on the same day, and they might not end up incorporating the results from those companies in their earnings call, right? So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully, though, we'll see some positive pressure from both of those things, right? Sundial, obviously, has an earnings call coming up. On their last earnings call, we saw them go up to, well, you can't really see it on this chart, but during the after hours, they went up to 99.99 cents. So pretty darn close to $1. And I'm not saying they can get there on this earnings call today, right? You know, they can't necessarily get there instantly. It's not going to necessarily just skyrocket to $1. It could, but we are a bit lower than we were since the last earnings call. However, we have been moving up lately, so we're really not that far off at this point from where we were right before the last earnings call. It is possible that we could see some good price action on Sundial, and it looks like we're coming back to the 61-cent level. Hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully we'll get back above that. That would be very nice. Now, oh, so some people are saying maybe the stream's not working very well. Interesting. So, can you guys see what's going on? It says excellent connection for me. Let me pull it up myself. Let me just make sure everything's going well, and I'll pull it up myself. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. It's not working on. Jeez. It might not be working too well on YouTube, unfortunately. So, we're on Rumble, it looks like. People on Rumble can see us. Okay. And on YouTube, it's a YouTube issue. It's not Mises Purdy Plays. Darn. Are there live streams that are going on in anywhere on YouTube? Because YouTube does say that there are people watching. There are viewers, it says. So, let me just ask in the chat. Let's see what you guys say in the chat. If the stream is live, we'll see what goes on with that. Hopefully it is live, but let's see real quick. Okay, I think this might be a YouTube issue. You know, I'm looking at other YouTube streams right now. I'm trying to find some other people streaming on YouTube. Let's see if Matt Kors is streaming.
The high
Matt
23s
Kors'
to
stream
24.
is up.
That would be a huge breakout, but obviously first we have to get above.
All right. Well, you know, some people are having trouble seeing us. That's, you know, oh well. We'll keep going. Hopefully the playback will be here still. So, Rocky Mountain Gobbler says, no, the stream is not live. Darn. Jeez. Well, all right. Now we're getting some numbers coming in. Hopefully that just fixed it. A lot of people are saying we can see the stream. All right. I think we'll just have to try to refresh. You know, if you can't see the stream, not that me saying this is going to help you. You just got to try to refresh the thing. Sorry, there are some technical issues. I noticed there were, you know, while we were prepping the stream, I noticed there were some technical issues going on YouTube's end, but Rumble seems to be working pretty well. I'll say in the chat. And it's tough to type with one hand. Not live. There we go. Well, hopefully something will work for someone. But regardless, you know, for those of you who are here, and apparently the stream is listed 3 times on my own page. Well, for people who are here, we will talk about what's going on in the world of cannabis, and not just in the world of cannabis, but the world of magic mushrooms as well. Okay, a lot of cannabis stocks are seeing some positive price momentum today. How magic mushrooms could follow in the footsteps of cannabis. All right, for those of you who are unaware of these psychedelic companies. All right, we're going to talk about one in particular, one that I have bought into. We're just going to read a quick snippet of this article. What was something of a taboo itself half a decade ago is now the subject of bills from both Republicans and Democrats in more than a dozen states. They range from proposals to study the medical benefits of psychedelics to bills that would allow adults to consume such drugs under supervision. So we're going to talk about one such company, one company that is currently engaged in the research of these substances and does offer some experiential therapies and whatnot, and is a publicly tradable company. That is Mind Medicine, MindMed, ticker symbol MNMD. So we'll pull that up on the charts, you guys can see what's happened to them over the past while. We'll pull them up right here over sundial, just not over sundial. We'll pull them up in the bottom left. MNMD over Aurora Cannabis. So over the past year, you can see they've been hurt pretty dramatically, along with most growth stocks, right? In November, when a lot of stocks were moving up in a decent way, we saw this stock around $2.80, moved all the way down to $1.20 now, right? The lows of 79 cents during peak fear, right? Around late January, it looks like. So this stock does have an earnings call coming up. I'll pull up their website real quick, just for anyone who's curious in what this company's all about. But they engage in psychedelic-inspired medicines and experiential therapies. And Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, is actually a big investor in this company. That is, I believe, how I heard about it. Interesting. Rocky Mountain Gobbler says, Rob, you're not listed on YouTube live streams either. Darn, guys. It seems like maybe 30 or so people are able to view the stream and the rest are unable, which that kind of sucks. I'm sorry, guys. Anyone who's not able to watch the stream, hopefully the playback will save itself, right? Hopefully the playback will save itself, and anyone who's curious about what we said can watch it there. We've unfortunately already gone through about half of this thing and talked about a lot of the important info. So even if it does fix itself, the playback might be the best bet for anyone who's left. I'm sorry, the stream's not working for a lot of people. Weird. I noticed YouTube was having an issue. You know, every now and then, it's once in a blue moon the YouTube has an issue like this. I remember a couple of months ago when I was first making videos and whatnot, they had this weird issue with thumbnails, and you tried to post a thumbnail and it was just like a loading screen almost, right? It was just a weird loading icon, and I saw that on my videos. I thought it was just something that was happening to me, and then I saw Meet Kevin post one, and it just had that weird thumbnail, and I was like, oh, well, I guess it's just a YouTube thing. They'll fix it later. And they took maybe a day or so to fix it, maybe 24 hours, and then it was fixed, or maybe even less. Regardless, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a YouTube issue, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. But, okay, let's see. MindMed. So let me pull up their website, and real quick, let me just... now I'm really curious. Yeah, the stream seems to be working pretty well for other YouTubers, it looks like. Okay, so... yeah, it seems to be working decently, but for sure a lot of people are unable to get in on this, it looks like. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Let me just check this out real quick. All right. Well, darn. Sorry, not much we can do about this. I don't think there's much I can do about it on my end, but we'll just continue. We'll continue. I've spent enough time talking about this. So MindMed. They've got their earnings call coming up Monday, March 28th. So next Monday, they should be doing, I think that's next Monday, the 28th. Yep, next Monday they are doing their earnings call. So maybe we'll hear some good news. Maybe we'll see a turnaround in MindMed. It has, followed the same pattern of pretty much all of these growth stocks. It's been getting pushed down. It had a big rally towards the end of 2020. And during the course of 2021, that was not a good year for growth stocks. So we just saw it move down and down and down. And we hit lows of 79 cents. Now we're sitting at $1.17. We're going to see if these growth stocks come back. This could be a good one. This could be one, it's more of an alternative stock, right? It's a psychedelic research company, so obviously there's some risk involved. There's not a guarantee that you're going to see legalization in that area anytime soon, but if we do, it would certainly be good for the stock price. So, or at least would most likely be good for the stock price. So, one other stock that I did want to mention because we just saw such positive stuff for it is GameStop. GameStop stock soars as the company's chairman buys more shares. Okay, the video game retailer's chairman, Ryan Cohen, bought another 100,000 shares of the stock, and it is moving up in a significant way, right? It was up 31% on Tuesday. We're going to take a look at GME, good old GME, and see just what we're looking at. So the chairman bought more of this stock. It moved up yesterday. It moved up in today's pre-market as well. Let's look at the 5-day chart and see how much we're up now from the close of the day prior to yesterday. So from the close of Monday to where we're at now, it's up 47%. GameStop, massive rally. We also saw a big rally in AMC, all right? AMC moved up in a pretty big way as well, up 24% from the close of Monday to where we're at now. So impressive stuff for both GameStop and AMC. Massive volume is actually coming in on these. We'll zoom in on the volume chart real quick. We'll just show you guys what that looks like. Really big volume this morning compared to what we're normally seeing. So Niner Zulu says, good now, nice. So some people are getting in, very fortunately. It looks like, unfortunately, though, YouTube is limiting quite a few people from getting in on this stuff. Oh well. We'll just keep going on how we do it. So, and Rocky Mountain Gobblers is on Rumble. Nice. You know, that's the upside to people being on both platforms. If you have access to both, then you never get locked out. So look at that. AMC hitting up $20. Hopefully we'll break past that. That would be really good. It looks like we struggled with it in the after hours yesterday. The pre-market, we struggled a little bit. And Francis says, make a stream at midday today. It will give time to fix it up. And we'll talk about the beautiful green day we're having. We are having a beautiful green day. Unfortunately, not in the overall stock market. And I would love to do a midday stream, but I have got a CT scan scheduled for later today. I've also got a test to take right before that. So I'm going to be busy as a bee all day pretty much. After this stream, I'm going to be pretty darn busy. Taking care of whatnot, stuff I'd rather not have to take care of, but that's what we're going to be doing. So now what we'll take a peek at some Sundial news, at least Sundial short interest, right? Then we'll talk about some of the catalysts that Sundial has going for it. So Sundial short interest, I want you guys to take note of the fact that over the past couple of months, you can actually see Sundial short interest has been slowly but surely decreasing, right? Shorts are slowly but surely exiting Sundial. Obviously, they've done a really good job, if you look at the chart of the past year, of pushing Sundial stock down. It looks like a lot of shorts, or at least some of them, are deciding to take profits. Of course, not all of them are deciding to take profits. A lot of people are still shorting Sundial stock, right? 234 million people, or 234 million shares worth of Sundial stock are currently being shorted, as estimated by Ortex, 11.43% of the free float. So a lot of people are still trying to short this thing, and we'll see. We'll see what goes on in the near future if a lot of these shorts decide to exit when they see Sundial stock really start to move up. If we break past $1, that could be a big sign to them that we could be on a big rally. Obviously, shorts tend to get greedy. We've seen shorts get very greedy over the past couple of years. Past year specifically, right? You've seen a lot of shorts make a whole lot of money off of these stocks. And unfortunately, they've been getting away with it. And up until now, it's looked like they've been making quite a bit. Now, we'll see if over the next couple of weeks and months that can change. If the shorts are going to continue being greedy, that would actually be a somewhat good thing, right? If they're going to keep being greedy and keep shorting this as it moves up, just building up larger short positions, then it just means there's more shorts that'll have to exit later, more shorts to squeeze out in the future if these stocks really start running up in a big way. That could actually be a good thing, right? As long as Sundial's price is moving up, I'd almost prefer to see more shorts getting in. Although it is a bit of a good thing, right? It's a bit of a reality check for a lot of us to see that shorts at least are recognizing maybe there's not as much potential in shorting Sundial anymore. A lot of shorts do seem to be exiting over the past couple of months. Tens of millions of shares have been closed position-wise. So overall, it's looking like some shorts are coming to the realization that Sundial might not be under $1 for too much longer, that Sundial might be on the way up. And you can see it's at the very least, it's on the way up on the StockTwits chart, right? You can see it is now one of the most active stocks. It's been a while since Sundial has been up there. Very fortunately, it is back up. So we're glad to see it. Sundial, number 9 right there. Up only 2.86% on the day at this point. Hopefully we'll see it move up more than that before the end of the day. Obviously, AMC is the number 1 ranker on StockTwits, by far the most popular stock out there, at least among retail investors, with about 20,000 mentions. Sundial isn't having moves as big as what AMC and GameStop are going through, so we haven't yet seen it really climb up the StockTwits leaderboard, but we are seeing Sundial, in addition to other cannabis stocks, actually start to get up there. In fact, if you look at the top trending stocks, hopefully this will actually load. It would be nice if it would load. Let's see if we can refresh the page. All right, so Tlry, number 4, top trender on StockTwits. So Tlry, another cannabis stock, getting up there. Maybe it'll get up on the most active list sometime soon. Hopefully it will, right? Sundial and Tlry, both doing pretty darn well, not just on StockTwits, on Google Trends. You can see the blue line is Sundial, the red line is Tlry. A lot of people are searching for these stocks today compared to how many were searching for them in the week prior. So they are starting to get significantly more attention. And what's notable is that over the past week, these stocks have actually been doing pretty well. So it's not even like it was a week of losses where nobody was interested in these stocks. This, Sundial was steadily going up day after day. Now we've just accelerated that. More people are looking into them. And, Sundial, as more people are looking into it, some people might start to put the pieces together. We've got an earnings call coming up. We've got an acquisition coming up. We've got potential cannabis legalization happening soon. And we'll see if that's going to be good or not for the stock. But it all sounds like pretty bullish stuff, right? It's impossible to say, but it seems like it's going to be pretty bullish for the stock. If I had to guess, I would say it would be bullish for Sundial, and we would probably see good stuff from that. It looks like at the moment, though, unfortunately, we're being held below the 61-cent level. So we'll see what happens over the course of the day. If we could break through that, that would certainly be very bullish for Sundial. We did also want to pull up where Ape Wisdom, right, the trending stocks on Reddit. I did notice that earlier today, Tlry is making its way up the leaderboard. I didn't see where Sundial was. Looks like it's spot number 44. Not as many people talking about Sundial on Reddit as Tlry, but surely over the next couple of days, if we continue to see rally in these stocks, both of them could make it up onto the top 10 on Reddit. And that's always a good thing, right? Whenever you get more people hearing about these stocks, the better. So obviously GameStop is number one. A lot of people have been talking about GameStop ever since that chairman ended up buying more shares of GameStop. You've been seeing really good stuff for them. They've obviously done pretty darn well for themselves. We'll pull up the GameStop chart for anyone who is curious. We'll pull that up. GME. We already pulled it up a little bit, but you can see what they've done over the past 30 days they've just about doubled from their lows to their highs, from 75 bucks just about at the lows to the highs of $1.48. They were up 91%. So big gains that you haven't seen for these kind of stocks in a long time. It's been a while since these kinds of stocks have been doing well, and I'm glad to see it. Look at this, very sharp increase. Who knows what this is the beginning of, guys? It could be really good. I'm in AMC, not GameStop, so we'll see if AMC can break past these levels. It looks like it's going to struggle with 20 bucks as it has over the course of February. Fortunately, a lot of the FUD is starting to not have as big of an effect on the market, despite the fact that the market overall, if you pull up the SPY, it is down in the pre-market. And over the course of the trading day, the market itself is actually down. But it's very encouraging to see that maybe these larger market cap stocks, right? The QQQ, more tech-based stocks, right? The large tech-based stocks. In fact, if we pull up the FinViz market map, we can probably see it right there. A lot of those stocks are moving down because oil's moving up. But if we pull up the full stock market right here, you can see on the market map, a lot of the larger market cap stocks are actually not doing all that great, right? Microsoft is down 1.7%, Nvidia 2.5%, Google down 0.75%, Amazon, Facebook the same. And if you look at the full market, you do see more flecks of green in the smaller stocks than you do in the larger ones. Obviously, the oil and gas sector is doing pretty well. The price of oil is actually up today. In fact, I think we've got a little article right here discussing stock futures fall slightly as oil prices jump. Okay, people are starting to weigh the impact that higher oil costs might end up having on the stock market. So, unfortunately, oil back up to $112 per barrel. We're looking at a situation where it's not looking too pretty for oil prices, and some people are starting to worry about potential recession. I'm not too worried about a recession due to oil prices. We've had high oil prices in the past. I think this is the kind of thing that we might end up getting solved sometime soon. I think that hopefully we're going to see some kind of a resolution in Ukraine and Russia. I don't think this is going to drag on for months and months. Maybe you'll look back at this as, Rob was a fool. He thought that the war wouldn't go on for months and months. But it just doesn't seem like the kind of situation that's really benefiting anybody. I mean, people in Ukraine don't want this to go on because they're living in a war zone. People in Russia don't want this to go on because they're living in a really tough economic environment, and they're just burning cash, essentially, right? They're spending it on this war. It doesn't look too likely that they'll win anytime soon, And even if they do, what would they really be winning? Just the land of people who hate them. So it really seems like a no-win situation. Nobody's gaining from this. I can't imagine it goes on for months and months. I think that before we really see a big recession coming, we'd probably see some positive developments in the Russia-Ukraine situation. Hopefully, some more oil getting into the markets, right? Obviously, we can pull up CEI, which is up today, back up above $1 at the moment, on news that oil is higher and that oil is likely to go higher in the near future at the very least. So we're seeing some good stuff for some of these stocks, but over the long term, I think that we'll probably see the markets recover. You can see we had a really great past couple of weeks. It's no surprise that that some of these stocks are pulling back a little bit, right? The markets have just been green and green and green over the past week or so, so it makes sense that they pull back, right? This is not too significant of a pullback, all things considered. So I think there's still plenty of room to go green. If you look at the crypto markets, you can see Bitcoin, 42,000, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're both down about 1.5%. A lot of things are giving up a little bit of the gains, but really nothing too significant. All things considered, from the highs of where we got stock market-wise, which actually happened in the pre-market today, to where we're at now, we're only down about 1%. So things aren't looking too bad in the S&P. It's looking like a situation that will likely correct itself. Maybe we'll move down a little bit further. It's definitely possible. I'm not too worried about the overall stock market. It seems like we're on a good trajectory. We've started ignoring a lot of the bad news, it seems like. People have just gotten desensitized to all the bad news out there. And hopefully that's going to be the case, right? Hopefully we're going to stop listening to all the FUD out there and start looking at some of the positives, right? We are going to start seeing cannabis legalization news, most likely in April. At least that's what Chuck Schumer is saying. And that's going to be pretty significant for a lot of these stocks, especially a lot of these stocks that are already very green. So we've also got, I will mention this stock for anyone who's curious. We've got a very, very low-priced, but obviously very risky penny stock, MJNA, medicalmarijuanainc.com. It sells for about 1.5 cents per share. Just for anyone, because I'm seeing James Wood comment in the chat. I know he likes this one. Just in case anyone was curious, we'll pull up the chart of the past 2 years. The last time we had a big cannabis rally, this thing was up at 22 cents. It is one that I'm in. It's historically pretty cheap at the moment. If you look at the past, we'll pull out the max chart for it real quick. And you can see very rarely is it below 2 cents per share. This is one of the few times that it's been able to be below this line at 2 cents per share. So we're seeing some good stuff for them. Hopefully that will continue. But, it is a potential entrance point below 2 cents per share. Obviously, they could go lower. There's no guarantee they won't. But if we do start to see some real cannabis hype, this stock does tend to perform fairly well during those times. Just putting it out there. It's one that I'm in, just in case anyone wants to look more into this stock. Just for anyone who's curious about it, I wanted to put that out there for them. So let's see what else we've got. So in regards to Sndl, just to cap it all off, I know that we interrupted a lot of what happened this stream. Unfortunately, with all the technical issues, it looks like we're still having a bunch of technical issues. A lot of people have ended up moving on to Rumble instead. So, thanks everyone who's watching on Rumble. Feel free to throw the stream a Rumble. It's the equivalent of a like on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, feel free to try to like it. But boy, oh boy, we've been having a lot of issues with this stream. A lot of people are unable to view it, unfortunately. So that's just something that we're going to be dealing with on YouTube right now. It says on my streaming software we're sending data to YouTube. It seems like a lot of people are able to view it. Sorry about those technical difficulties, guys, but feel free to throw the stream a like. Help the algorithm help it out on the algorithm or whatever. We'll see if that ends up helping once the stream gets turned into a replay instead of the real live thing. So that's mostly what we've got. But the Sndl catalysts, all right, we'll go over them real quick. What we've got in the near future for anyone who wasn't watching the past couple Sndl videos, what we've got in the near future, we've got before the 30th, the Alcana acquisition. We've got the earnings call on the 29th. In April, we've got cannabis legalization. It's looking like a pretty good time for Sndl. And not to say that we're actually legalizing cannabis in April, but we're looking at cannabis legalization bills being introduced in April, I should say. So a lot of good stuff going on for Sundial. Those are the biggest catalysts that we've got going for us in the near future. And we'll see how the cannabis space develops, right? A lot of these cannabis stocks are looking pretty green at the moment. So all things considered, I'm pretty happy. My portfolio, when I look at it, it will probably be doing pretty darn well. So other than that, guys, that's what we've got in the stream. Thank you guys for joining us. It was a rough one today. Unfortunately, things don't always go as planned, but hopefully tomorrow things will be fixed. We'll see you guys 5 minutes before market open. That's when we'll be launching these streams for the next little bit. My arm is starting to feel a bit better. Unfortunately, we'll have to do the surgery, and that will probably make it feel a little bit worse in the short term, but over the long term, it'll probably be a good thing. Now, I will, before we end the stream, just show you guys Sundial starting to move back up. We might see a very green day for Sundial here now that we're back above 61 cents. Just wanted to point that out for anyone who was missing it, for anyone who wasn't watching the chart themselves. So other than that, guys, thank you for joining us. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I know it was probably tough. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, 9:25 Eastern time, or 5 minutes before the market opens for anyone else who's not on Eastern time. So bye, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.